Still a b-boy, from the old to the new, still a b-boy, too bold for the school, still a b-boy, east coast to the west, b-boys worldwide, we supposed to be blessed, still a b-boy.
This week, we're headed to Iowa to talk to an MC who you could say I have a shaky past with. Well, at one point, his crew was beefing with my crew. Those days are in the past. A true hip-hop head, crazy lyrical on the mic. This week, welcome my guest, NDK. What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on?
We know how I'm going to start this. Do you remember your first memories of hearing hip-hop?
No, not at all. I've thought about this
Yeah.
for the last couple days to see if I can channel something. And no, I'm sure it was in a movie or on TV, probably, but there's nothing that like the first time, like
Right.
I have no idea.
There was no aha moment.
No.
Well, you should be able to at least tell me who were some of your first favorite rappers, the one that really caught your ear that got you into it.
I really fell in love with like I remember back when I was real little, like I liked Tag Team quite a bit.
Hey, that was a popular song.
Like Whoop, There It Is.
Yeah.
And then so I had that whole album on cassette when I was a younger lad, just because it got me so hyped. But like as an artist, I remember hearing like Immortal Technique, who really like clicked an intellectual switch with me, because like I've never heard anyone like talk like that, and the subjects and the ability to like give you a history lesson.
Mhm.
That was like my first exposure really to that. I'd say probably Immortal Technique was what clicked kind of formed kind of what I do now initially.
Yeah, he's someone who's not talked about enough. Unfortunately, the most talented people doesn't mean you sell the most records.
Correct.
And he's someone who's just, he's up there with the top lyricists of all lyricists and great storyteller.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So you're a fan of hip hop. You talked about as far as an artist inspiring you. At what point did you think, maybe I can do this? Did you try writing? Were you just rapping first? How did it all come together?
So I started basically with dealing with a lot of like teenage angst, just trying to get, your emotions just explode at a certain age. And I had always had kind of an anger problem, surprise. Growing up, I mean, I went through 3 different elementary schools, suspended all the time. I was in junior high, I was suspended all the time. I finally kind of leveled out a little bit going into high school, but at the same time, there was no outlet for any of that still. So what I was doing was I would just kind of scream into a notebook. So I wouldn't get in trouble anymore. And I don't know what caused that to form into probably turn into more poetry,
Right.
I would say. And then just I have a very diverse musical palette anyways. So it was probably hearing something like Immortal Technique or God knows what else that made me more put it to music, I would say.
Most MCs start, you'll write for the first time, but it's a big step to then take that to like either performing in front of someone, like even your friends, check this out, or then the next step, putting it to tape. When did you take that step?
From 2001 to 2004-ish was when I was writing and then building into rhyming, building into making songs, and then would kind of mold into recording, which I mean at the time was on like a horrible, one of those stick microphones, the old desktop. There was no studio there. And I remember at the time too, when I first started recording, I had like 3 different, I used like the audio recorder that was built into Windows 98.
Right.
And then I had to take that, and I downloaded the program was called a DJ Dex, and it was like a digital like turntable program that you could use with them. I mean, very remedial. And I remember I had to like time it right. I had to play all my early first songs were all like way off. Not that I had any kind of concept of staying on beat anyways, but they were all off even more so because I had to time it right, just the way the whole awful setup that I had. And I remember showing some of my friends like stuff that I was excited about, and they're like, oh yeah, like like what the fuck. But yeah, it was probably 2004, 2005 is when I started actually recording it.
And when did you become NDK? How did you come up with that stage name?
NDK came from actually a girl that I'm still friends with today, but I went to high school with her. Saw me like writing, and I wasn't like hidden about it every now and then, but like she knew I was writing, and she called me Nilla Tequila, like vanilla.
Vanilla Tequila.
So that was like the original, like joke meaning to it, that she came, just fucking with me with it. And then I turned it into no definition known, because every time, oh, what's your what's NDK mean? Well, no definition known. So it's kind of a play on words in itself. Sure. And I try to be diverse in what I make, so I can't be defined.
So one thing that I definitely wanted to touch on was, and I'm jumping around now a little bit.
Yeah, you're fine.
But was our mutual love for lyrical hip hop. Now, there's different type of fans of hip hop. You have casual fans. You have people who are fans of what the radio, tells them to. You got people who don't even listen to lyrics. They just want a fresh beat. But then you got the people who are into lyricists. When I was growing up, hearing a KRS-One or a Big Daddy Kane or a Rakim was mind-blowing, because even though by the time they came out, I was a rap fan, to hear someone play with the English language. And then as years went by, you got, the Razzcazz and, Immortal Technique, the Chino XLs, those type of people even took it to a next level. But it's hard to find people who truly, truly appreciate the lyrical aspect of it. Why do you think you were drawn to that?
I don't know. I've always been a fan of, how to say this, not intellectualism, but I always appreciated having some kind of knowledge just in general. Growing up, my sister always was amazed at my vocabulary. I was like 5 years old using the words like abdominal or something like that. And,
sure.
And she's a couple years older than me. So I've always had like a decent vocabulary. So I've always had an appreciation for anything that's above the bar, technical aspects in anything you do. That being said, I think there's a lot to say, like, especially about people like Rakim and Razzcazz and Chino, where like, if I just turn your beat off and I can enjoy your acapella because you're like your breath control and you're you're doing certain things, like, and especially, and this is coming up, as an artist, what goes into that, and how hard some of that stuff is.
Oh yeah.
And to just do it so effortlessly. Like Rakim is just like how is he so smooth with it? Like how are you that like type of person to just be so smooth with it? It just blows my mind. I thought it was funny. It's like, growing up, like even now, like listening to these guys, it's just like,
oh, it holds up. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You can listen to 87 Rakim and he's more lyrical than most artists are today. I mean, it's not even comparable. There's people who will appreciate lyrical hip hop and, give props to it. But I feel like you really understand, like you said, being an artist as well, what goes into that, to have, it's nice if you have one or two dope punchlines in a verse and, ones where people go, oh. But some of these artists that we're mentioning, their whole 3-verse song is just bar after bar of shit where you got to listen 3 times and then, oh shit, you connect that and that. I love that. It's almost like a replay value. I think of that with, the people we named, like Royce 5'9's another one. even Eminem, where you catch it a couple times later.
Canibus, like he just nowadays just he almost just does like a movie, like, and his subjects are so like he's here and then he's here, but like you're thinking about all this in your head. It's like you're literally like picturing everything he's talking about.
Sure.
And it's like what the fuck, like I'm just like driving, just like watching a movie in my head of all this crazy shit he's talking about. I'm like, it's amazing. I don't know if that's the intent or not, but that's what I get from it. I'm like, this is sweet. Like, this is like free fucking movies. I love it.
And there's not enough storytelling elements. I always fall into being the grumpy middle-aged hip-hop head, but I really feel a lot of storytelling elements has been lost in the art form. Not everyone. I mean, you have to dig for it deeper now, but the ability to paint a picture like a Slick Rick, or I'm talking about older people, but it's such a lost art. That new album, you had that track with Chino. What was that like, being able to work with Chino? I know you a big fan. Obviously, I am too.
It was amazing. I reached out to an A&R known as M80, and he works with a ton of different people. He's managing Canibus right now, and hooked it all up. Chino emailed me saying that, like, he's like, that song's my shit. He's like, I love my line on this. Like, he's like, I was cracking myself up when I did this, and it's just to even you know this, to even communicate with someone like that, even via email, it's just like it's all worth it. It's like that's fucking cool, especially when he's like breaking down his lines in the song to you. It's like chef's kiss, man. Like, it was great. It was a dream, obviously a dream come true. I remember when I was a label back in, I think it was 2006. It might have been 2005, 2006. I was up in a Chicago-based label, and that I met through Controversy, and we had reached out to Chino's manager at the time, getting a price and stuff like that, and for whatever reason, it fell through. We never got to the funding step, and all these years later, he's still active and still willing to work with people like me, and it means the world. It was great.
So I'm gonna go back. First time I was introduced to you was through Rip Black.
Who?
Yeah, I know. There's this rapper from Iowa, where you're from, named Rip Black.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I'll have to look him up. Yeah, I've never heard of him.
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty whack, but we'll just leave it at that.
Well, that's why maybe it's Rip Whack. Maybe you're mispronouncing it.
I do know a song with that title.
Yeah.
Anyways, through Rip Black is when I first met you. How did you connect with him? Besides, you're just in the same area. How did your paths cross?
That's basically it. We were in the same area. I always bring up MySpace because it was the golden age of, I think, internet rappers collabing. We decided to do a song together. He's like, hey, I'm gonna perform the show. Do you want to do that song we did at it? I'm like, oh yeah. And going to that show was the first time, if I remember correctly, I think my first time meeting him was at the show. And we hit it off and did our song and been brothers ever since.
Yeah, in all seriousness, a big shout out to Rip Black. I wouldn't even be doing this once I appeared on his thing, it kind of got the bug in me to stay in the industry now that I haven't done anything musical in a few years. So it kept me, in the industry and talking about something I love. So I, for real, want to give mad props to Rip Black.
Yeah, he's awesome.
But then he brought you guys up to Milwaukee, and we did that one power session at the studio. I remember a song.
I'm still proud of that.
I remember a song named Blingless. That was really dope. All these songs never got released because of what would happen shortly after. But I looked them up again when I was right before I interviewed Rip Black, and it's some good shit in there. There was one called Blingless that was really dope. I think you were doing the hook. I'm blingless, I'm ringless, I got no things, bitch, or something like that. The hook goes.
Yeah.
It was fresh. So you guys came up and did that, and then I'm not going to rehash the whole thing, but people are going to think you got to talk about the beef or whatever happened. If you didn't listen to the Riplack podcast, where we pretty much go into it in depth, the basic gist of it is your crew, my crew, we're beefing, right? And shit got pretty ugly. But is there anything that wasn't said? You know, it was kind of back and forth on Riplack's story-wise. Is there anything that we left out? Anything that you think needs to be said that wasn't said? I wanted to give you the opportunity.
Well, I'll apologize to you for what I said. It was just, young me doing stupid shit about talking to your wife like that. Like I said, it wasn't aimed at her.
Right.
Long story short, you invited us up there to check you guys out at the show. You're offering us, me and Riplack at least, chance to join up with you.
Mm-hmm.
We drove, it's like 5.5 hours or something, and it was like this horrible blizzard.
Right.
And so we were a little late. I think we missed you guys, or you guys were just getting off when we even got there. And then we're kind of hanging out for a little bit, and then we can't find you. And I think it was Kane came up. It's like, yeah, he left. It was like, what? For whatever reason he had, and that's fine. And we're basically, you didn't, say bye or, thanks for coming, and when he said you left because of the weather, it's like the weather we just drove 6.5 hours in to get here. We just felt it was kind of shit, and maybe we shouldn't have approached it the way we did with you. But I'm never gonna be like, oh, we were wrong for that, because we were pissed. We risked our fucking life to get up there, and it is what it is now.
It is what it is. Yeah. And I mentioned this on Riplack's when he was on my podcast, but I love that him and Double C were able to squash it, because when it came down to it, that was the highest tense moment was, what Double C said on that song, or he was going by Fungi at the time. I'm always going to call him Double C, but
yeah,
it was mad cool.
I'm always going to call him Fungi. So.
Yeah, he's always Double C to me, but it was cool that they could squash that. And, that really is, I think Riplack even used this phrase, grown man shit, just really, hashing out and figuring out. And
yeah, it was cool. And that they were able to have such an in-depth, kind of life talk there too. It wasn't just like, yeah, we're cool now. It got deep.
Mm-hmm, no doubt.
It was a damn good interview.
Right. So beef in general, I want to talk about hip hop diss tracks. Now, diss tracks or battling, how it started, has always been an element of hip hop. Obviously, sometimes dissing goes too far, like it did in our case. Sometimes it's more friendly, like KRS-One and MC Shan back in the day. Who do you think was some of the best back and forth diss tracks throughout hip hop history in your mind?
Back and forth?
Yeah, a good example of what wouldn't be is a lot of people think of Tupac Biggie beef, but really Biggie truly never answered Hit 'Em Up. So I don't look at that as a true, they were beefing in real life, but I'm talking about musical beef. And people argue that, and they'll say, who shot you? But that was recorded before that even happened. And I'm not here to have a debate about that, which we could, but where someone went back and forth, a DJ Quick at MC8, or my personal favorite, which is just one song by each of them. There might have been little things here and there. Well, there were actually. But Canibus, second round knockout, this is Cool J. And LL Cool J comes back with the Ripper Strikes Back. And I think that's Cool J Ed. I don't know if you're familiar with that song.
Yeah.
But I think Cool J, he kind of said, I still got it. I love that back and forth. That's one that I think is never talked about enough, especially Cool J's track.
Well, that was one of the ones that popped into my head was Canibus and LL, just because I love Canibus, and I love how they were able to squash their
Sure.
Shit at the Barclays Center. Man, that was cool. Yeah, I mean, it's so intriguing because there's so many perspectives about it, because the original beef popped up with the 4-3-2-1
Mm.
and LL taking offense to that when it was really, I think it was more of an homage, a shout out, like
That's how I took it too. Yeah.
that's how I took it. And then, you watch some of those like the beef DVDs and they're like, man, you can't say that. Like it's so weird how people look at all this
Yeah.
differently. I'm like, really? And then I don't know if it's true or not. I would assume so, but there was rumors where Canibus asked Eminem when they first met if he wrote that for LL, The Ripper
Oh,
Strikes Back.
yeah.
So there's just so many pieces and puzzles and kind of how it all played out. That's when you're kind of elaborating, that's kind of what popped into my head. I think Nas and Jay-Z, because there was real life aspects, and
Right.
I'd say real life like off record
Mhm.
aspects to it, but also the diss tracks were insane.
Right.
Like that's another one that's great. I wish Eminem had more like competent like enemies, because
Right.
like his are they're very, nuanced and good, but like it's kind of sucks that there's nothing other to come back, like
Mhm.
I don't know.
It would be interesting to see him against a real lyrical MC, battling.
Yeah, because like Nail in the Coffin was great, and
Yeah.
I'm not a big Eminem fan.
Mhm.
There's like 2 or 3 songs that I like, but like Nail in the Coffin is such a
Yeah, the Benzino disc.
it's a nasty one.
Mhm.
But yeah, I would say Cannabis and LL is one of my favorites, just because it's so interesting how it all played out.
So after I'm going back to, we squashed beef between crews, Rip Black and I did, and I didn't really talk to like you or Controversy. It just kind of, because Rip Black was always kind of my point man as far as our dealings anyways. But your guys' next big project was a Takeover record, and I didn't hear it when it came out. I heard it more recently. Rip Black sent me both discs, and I texted him right away. I might even send you a message. I was so mad impressed how good that project was. Was there a point in recording that where you realized you had something special, something better than the normal projects you're working on?
Are you referencing Hip Hop Heroes or 3 Ways to Die?
Hip Hop Heroes.
Okay.
Is,
Yeah. So what's that?
is that other one never came out, right?
No, the 3 Ways to Die was the original one. So that's the one we made right after all the happenings with you guys.
Okay.
That was like our debut one, which is also really good. But yeah, Hip Hop Heroes is
Hip
probably
Hop Heroes,
superior.
there's 2 discs.
There's that's a double disc,
Yep, that's the one I know.
but that's one project. Okay. So yeah,
Okay,
when so I mean, no, you're good. When we were making that, like it wasn't supposed to be 2 discs. We just kept going.
Mhm.
We just kept making songs, and we were like, you guys just want to do like a double disc and make it a big thing. And I mean, it took a long time to like put that together, 3 adults trying to
Right.
find time to write and record and get everybody in the same place to like review it and planning out the track list is like a big event for us, because we all get together and we play the whole thing through and we're like, well, that needs to be here, that needs to be there, because people listen to albums straight through still nowadays, right?
A couple of us.
But no, yeah. And luckily during that time too, we were able to go and we were doing tons of shows. And so we were able to try out a lot of the songs. So we knew we had a bunch of the songs like were like high, like so yeah, I'd say fairly early on. And we were writing off, we liked our first project was a little more grimy. It wasn't as produced per se as Hip Hop Heroes. So like we knew how to work together.
Right.
So yeah, I'd say pretty early on, like we knew.
Out of all the artists you work with, whether it's Rip Black and Controversy or mainstream artists that you got to do songs with, like Chino or just other underground cats, who is your favorite 1 or 2 people to collaborate with and do a song with?
Let's see. Rip Black. No,
He pay you to say that?
pulling the paper out. Yeah. Yeah, I'd say it's gotta be my Takeover brothers, man. I got the Make Hip Hop Great Again shirt.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, there's just too many good memories. It's too easy. There's never ever been any like infighting with us. There's constructive criticism, except Khan will like straight up tell you, like he's told Rip Black, like, no, that's shit. That's crap. Don't say that. But no, it's always smooth sailing. Yeah, it's gotta be the Takeover guys.
So I talked about who you enjoyed working with. Who would you like to work with that you haven't been able? Money's not an issue. Say you can work with anyone on the planet for free. Who is that one or two MCs?
I always tell people, I got a three tier triangle that always changes up, and I already got two of them. I did a track with Canibus on Spit Mata. I did Chino XL on Bully Witness. I would love to work with. The third would be Immortal Technique. Obviously, and I told Rip like this too. Like I would in a second do a track with Rakim or KRS-One or Cool G Rap, or there's not many people who have turned down, but like wish list is right now. Immortal Technique is who I would collab with.
Crazy show memories, whether it's with a national or just a local show. Crazy show memories, one or two. I mean, because when you're like us doing all those shows in some weird ass places, some little hick bars, all over the place, crazy shit is bound to happen.
There's one that comes to mind. It was here in the Quad Cities, and it was at this bar, but they had they used to throw like festivals and stuff there, so they had like a big stage, and it was like like in the back room, like it was like the real deal. So it wasn't like some plywood stage in a in a tent. And I remember I was on my set, and we were with a couple people, like Rip, I don't know if he was there or not, but like Con was there, and Con was actually hyping me at the time. And we had UGV, who's a local group here, and one of their founding members is named Scarecrow, and Scarecrow fights everybody. But he's like self-defense wise, so like he's always rambunctious. He's settled down quite a bit now. So we're up, Con's hyping me, I'm doing a verse of something. Scarecrow's girlfriend or wife at the time, whatever, comes in. I don't know why they weren't in there to begin with. None of this would have happened. So she runs up to the stage. She's like, y'all gotta stop. Corey, which is Scarecrow, he's outside. He's fighting some guy. We're like, during my set, I'm like, so we got to go back him up. So we go out there, everybody's just smashed. People are trying to break up this huge fight. Show gets shut down. And we always mess with them now. Like, remember that time you got your ass kicked during my set? That's the one that pops up immediately. Luckily, we try to be about our business at shows, so there's not too many crazy stuff that happens. That was a Rip Black solo show, like where he got up in Hobson's face.
Yeah.
Shit, man, that's a Rip Black solo show. That's on him. But no, that's the one that comes to mind when Sec got interrupted because the guy's fighting outside, and I go back him up. So
I know I talked to Rip Black about this studio verse shows, and he gravitates more towards liking a show more than a studio. Me, I'm a studio lab rat. What do you prefer? If you could only have one, is it the excitement of the crowd, winning the crowd over, that hype feeling that, is really hard to duplicate, or is it the process, the sitting down, doing the actual work process?
If I could only have one, I would say studio, because I am a process nerd. I find everybody's processes and the way they write or record or even structure, or even what they call their ad libs or fills or whatever extra stuff on the track is. Everyone, Yeah, everyone has different names for all this stuff, and it's just amazing. And I mean, I would pick that if I could choose one, but I love the stage, and there's so many great memories and so many just adrenaline highs that I've gotten. And we were down in Kansas City one time opening for, I think it was Calhoun and Stevie Stone of Strange Music, and they had this guy who was kind of emceeing the evening, and he was just like this bundled up. He was this black dude, and he had like this big winter coat, sunglasses inside. I mean, probably higher than shit. And I was like, so we get up on there, and I start talking my shit, like, yeah, what up with it? He goes, I got it. And so he's like, yo, give it up, and introduces himself. And he's like, when I say take, y'all say over, take, oh. And that's in the beginning of Hip Hop Heroes. That's where that clips from. The live show. It's like, yeah, okay. Like, he wasn't joking. He's like, I got it.
But we talked about a couple different projects, whether it's some of your solo stuff, whether it's Takeover. If you had to pick one project that you're the most proud of, what album would that be?
You're hurting me, AK. I can't. I don't know. That's tough, man. I mean, I would probably just the Hip Hop Heroes project, just because of all the wheels that went into it. Was, and how it grew into a double disc. I'd have to say that, plus the memories that came before, after, and during. It's just it's untouchable for me. When we were all just going rocket fire on it. So yeah, it's probably Hip Hop Heroes for now.
For now, okay.
For now.
Now I'm gonna switch to my basic hip hop type questions. We're gonna talk some hip hop shop. You can only listen to one MC for the rest of your life, just his catalog. Who's it? Or her. I always say his.
Canibus.
Yeah.
I mean, Riplack.
Well, obviously.
Yeah.
You're on an island, 5 albums. What are those 5 albums?
See, I thought about some of these because I know.
Yeah.
Let's do in no order. Obviously, I can't do that. Fuck that. I'm gonna bring with me Cheers by Obi Trice. I'm gonna bring probably the Hip Hop Heroes. And that counts as one. That's one project.
Absolutely.
That's a double disc, so that's cheating. Let's go with Reconstruction. That's another cheater because that's 2 discs.
That's 2 discs, yeah.
Let's do Canibus, Rip the Jacker. Scratch that. Let's do Canibus, For Whom the Beat Tolls. And the 5th one, MCAK, The One and Lonely.
Oh shit. Playing.
just to remember you by.
All right, we're gonna do this or that. I'm gonna give you some options. Pick which one.
Yeah.
You can get with this, or you can get with that. You can get with this, or you can get with that. You can get with this, or you can get with that.
We're doing albums. Takeover, the Hip Hop Heroes one, disc 1 or disc 2?
You, man. Disc 1 probably. There's maybe a reason why those are on disc 2. I'd say disc 1.
I believe that was my favorite one too. This one makes it into every one because I find this one fascinating too. Dr. Dre's The Chronic or Snoop Dogg's Doggy Style?
Probably the Chronic. It's tough though.
All of KRS-One's solo albums or all the Boogie Down production albums?
Solo.
Chino XL, Here to Save You All or Big Pun, Capital Punishment?
Chino.
Biggie's Ready to Die or Tupac's All Eyes on Me?
Biggie.
Big Daddy Kane or Rakim?
Ah, man. Damn. I can't pick that. I can't pick. I love them both equally for like way different reasons. Did you see their or did you see Chris and Big Daddy Kane?
Yes,
The
the
verses.
verses, yeah.
Man, that's man, the MC versus the rapper. That was awesome.
That was.
But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you know what's funny? I probably like the modern day versions of Big Daddy Kane and Rakim more than like the old school versions.
Really?
Yeah. Is that weird?
It's music. It's a opinion.
Yeah,
It's a personal preference.
Man, they're just like Kane became so nasty with like a modern kind of style.
Talking about verses, 3-6 Mafia or Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Bone Thugs.
You can only listen to all East Coast rap or all West Coast rap.
East Coast. Not hard for me. Yeah.
All right, rapid round. I give you an artist. You tell me the first thing that comes to your mind. A lot of lyricists on here because I knew you were a fan of that. Cool G rap.
First word that comes to mind?
No, not word. Just your first thought. What do you think?
First thought is ridiculously intricate. Just continuity, I would say. Just
Right.
Huge syllables. Just
He should be remembered the same way Rakim and Kane, Big Daddy Kane are, because he
is, and sometimes he's even higher, I'd say.
Right.
I don't know if he's just too grimy with it. I'm not sure, but yeah, I think in kind of the populace, he's kind of an outlier a little bit,
Right.
which is strange because I think of those three kind of the same.
That's why I mentioned they're very
similar. Just cut your head off
Mhm.
breed in
Right.
different ways.
Speaking of them, I got Big Daddy Kane next.
Just smooth, just stylistic, just calm but vicious.
Smooth is a good word. He effortless.
Yeah,
he makes it look effortless.
Effortless. Effort. Just pro, man. Just unreal.
Yeah, he's an MC's MC.
Yeah.
Hobson.
Overrated.
Oh shit.
Yeah, not really a fan. Never got into it.
I guess this next person is an MC, but he has rapped, so he makes a list. Soul True.
Devoted, passionate, hard-headed. He's a Bears fan, which isn't great.
Oh, that's terrible.
Passionate sports fan, cold-blooded sports fan.
Well, the trifecta, Rakim.
Again, just smooth, calm, buttery. Just a buttery voice. Just man, I could listen. It's gonna sound weird. I could just fall asleep to like Rakim just like talking to me. Like
Right.
he could just gently say things in my ear about rap. Man.
And he's one of the first MCs I remember hearing with the compound rhyme schemes where he'd obviously be rhyming the end of the two bars, but then in the middle of the bars, he'd have a rhyme, a word, rhyme, the word that rhymes. I mean, you could damn near make a graph with arrows and circles and shit. It was so intricate. And
there's websites that do that now. They color code the words.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so you can kind of have a visual of what they came back to. But yeah, and Ra does it with, he's got a melody in there too.
Right.
Like that rhythm is just, and like, oh man, he's so nasty, so good.
Crazy. Big Pun.
I mean, gone too soon, I think would be, there should have been, we should have been able to have big pun records upon big pun records upon, like we do everyone else we've talked to. It's a shame that it's
right.
That, yeah, I don't know if trap right word, but it sucks that we don't get more.
Right.
Because he was so good.
Right. I think that with him, I think of that with Big L too. I don't know how much Big L you listen to, but man, I would have loved to get 2 or 3 more Big L records. And Biggie too. I mean, we can keep saying it over with these people who die too soon. It's crazy. I listening to every Christmas. I got to listen to Eazy-E's Merry Motherfucking Christmas song. I've been doing it since '93 when that record came out. And I was thinking how, so when Eazy died, he was like 33. And I remember I was in high school. I'd have been 16 because he died in '95, and thinking, man, he seemed so old to me at the time. And it's like, shit, I outlived him by 10 years already. I'll be 43 in January. It's crazy how they felt so old at the time. And it's weird to live so much longer. You know, people like Tupac and Biggie were in their mid-20s. They were kids.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Think if they would have made it to 50, the music they could have made. I mean,
it is a shame, especially with how things evolve. You know, you look at even like an artist that would come out in, you know, early 2000s and how much that music is different than today.
Oh, yeah.
But still being able to kind of keep your style and evolve it would just been insane. Like Chino XL is a good example. Like Here to Save You All, the instrumentals on that compared to like Reconstruction. I mean, you know, you got modern versus you know what seemed like antiques now, and it's just like insane the way some of these guys could have been.
Absolutely.
Even with just production wise.
Right. Ray Black.
Eagles suck. Fuck him. Eagles suck. Yeah, just fuck him. I hope he never gets Victoria Royale ever again. He sucks at Rocket League. He's gonna listen to this and get all fumed up and mad. Corn's good. I don't care what he says. Is what it is.
The vegetable or the band?
Both.
They're both good.
They're both good.
Both good. How about Crooked Eye or King Crooked nowadays?
Not enjoyable because he's too perfect. I mean that in a compliment way. Like it's so like effortless, but like in like modern terms now, like it's so, I don't know, it's just like I can't listen to him and like enjoy it because it's like fuck, like this guy is just so good. Like you know what I mean? It's just like you can't like aspire after hearing him because it's just like fuck.
Well, next I got Canibus.
I think he might be the most underrated MC of all time. What he's able to do, like just vocabulary wise, even is just maddening. Like I said, him and Chino fight it out for my favorite rapper on a daily basis, depending on what song's playing. So, but I think he's just insanely deep.
You're right. He really isn't talked about enough. I mean, he's more talked in passing or maybe the second round knockout, that first album. But looking back, he's really put out a lot of projects. You know, I don't know the number offhand, but he's put out a lot of records and they don't sell as well as they should. But we can say that about half the people we're talking about. You know, when I see I don't even know the modern rappers, but their name is either going to start with Lil or Young. I see one of these, you know, million records sold, and KRS-One will put out an album now and, you know, only sell 100,000. That shit literally gets me mad if I think about it too much because it's just fucked up.
Yeah.
Obi Trice, real name, no gimmicks.
Severely underrated. His Cheers and Second Rounds on Me are, I think they're two classic albums. I think they're great.
Yeah.
And
Cheers was a good album.
Rip Black agrees with me. Controversy agrees with me. Like I just like how anyone like can hear those and be like, they're okay. Like, no, these are classics. These are good. They're really good. And I think he's another guy that's got, you know, you can just turn the beat down and just listen to him ride it. And it's just like, yeah, this is nice. This is a crackling fire.
I think his third one was that Bottoms Up.
Bottoms Up. Yeah.
That was the third one. I think that's the last one. I mean, he's been kind of quiet lately. I know he's not on Shady Records anymore, but it's probably why you don't hear as much of him.
Yeah, he's put out a couple of different ones, but I mean, he was just in such a, you know, he had all the production behind him too with the budget. with
It
those
helps
first
having
two.
having
But man, they were
Eminem and
just,
Dre budget. Yeah.
yeah, those were nasty albums. Really good.
All right, don't hold back. MCAK.
Um,
Don't be
I
afraid to
respect.
diss me.
Nah, they've been there, done that. Just knowledgeable, wise, well spoken,
I'll take that.
and interesting.
How about Eminem?
Uh,
I know you said you weren't a big fan.
yeah, I'm not a big fan. Like obviously I recognize his ability and his skill, and he's a supreme lyricist, but I don't know. I think what it is, coming up being a white rapper who's not influenced by Eminem at all. The very first thing you get is, oh, Eminem, and
Yep.
I know you've been in the game long enough. I've been in the game long enough where at first it was, oh, Vanilla Ice.
That's exactly
right.
You said that took the words out of my mouth. Yep.
Yeah. So it's like I'm kind of sick of hearing about it. Like we're different. Like I don't, and obviously if he inspired somebody to, do what they do, cool. But like, no, different people.
How about Ice Cube?
Again, someone I'm not like that big of a fan of. There's a certain vibe though that I like when I listen to Ice Cube when he's pissed off Ice Cube, which is like, I guess, all the time. But I like that pissed off Ice Cube, but I'm not like no, I don't have any of his albums or anything like that. So
damn, that's a shame. That's a
I
shame.
know I'm crazy. I'm not currently looking for new music. Thank you.
How about Controversy?
Real. I've seen him straight up go rush up to people who are talking shit and punk people out in parking lots and all sorts of. I mean, he's a real dude, and supremely intelligent. He won't enter an argument if he's not going to win, and he wins all the time. He's extremely shrewd debater, just incredibly well spoken.
How about Royce 5'9"? Fan of him?
Probably more so than Ice Cube and Eminem and Hobson. Again, a guy who's kind of that crooked eye vibe for me, where it's like, man, like this guy's like so effortlessly good, like makes it look easy. Just I don't even want to listen to it. I just it's like unobtainable good.
I forgot to ask this before this. Is there ever going to be, is Takeover, all three of you, is that ever going to happen again? I know Controversy said to Ripple Act that he's pretty much moved on from the music, but what are the chances we ever get another Takeover album? If you had a guess.
5% chance, maybe.
So not very good. Would you
No,
ever do?
I would have to facilitate it all. Probably. I'd probably have to beg for it to happen.
Would you want it to happen?
Yeah. I think a third. We had 3 Ways to Die about the 3 of us. There was Hip Hop Heroes, which was a double disc, and I think the perfect. It would just have to be like a 10-track album or something, and I would like for it to be called The Takeover: The Third Way.
Well,
so I've already planned all this, but I facilitated.
You're ready, right?
Yeah, I'm ready, but yeah, I don't know. I'd say 5%. There's a chance, but not a very big one.
Hey, it's better than 0.
Sure.
All right, you got anything to plug? What you got coming out? What you got out? Where can people get at you on social media? The whole 9 yards.
All social media is at Real NDK, REAL NDK. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I have, that was a good catch. I have a website, www.realndk.com, which is always under construction. I'm trying to build my whole lyric archive on there, which is a huge pain in the ass. So it's not very updated, but I'm chipping away at it. And someday it'll be complete. So you can go and follow along. Spotify right now has Spit Mata, the 10 years of symptoms.
Dope album.
Remaster. Thank you. And Boldy Witness is on there. I got probably 2 projects in the works. One's a collab album, and then the other one is probably a solo album, but I'm not ready to divulge any more than that.
Cool.
But
Yeah.
always working.
Everyone check out his albums. Maybe one day, since the last song we did together was Blingless or one of those songs, we'll have to collaborate again. I'm always like you. I've always got things even though I haven't been in the lab in a few years. I'm to the point where there's projects I want to do, but we lost our engineer, longtime engineer, and it'll be weird not having him. So I've been kind of hesitating, but I'll get back in there.
Yeah, you don't want to do it when the moment's not right.
Right. Appreciate it. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep loving hip hop. Keep doing real hip hop. And that's all I got to say. Peace.
Perfect. Thanks, man.
See ya.
See ya.
Swarming, buzzing round your corpses as the end approaches. A feast for flies, a feast for flies, a feast for flies. I hear swarming, buzzing round your corpses as the end approaches. You a feast for flies, a feast for flies, a feast for flies. It's time to let the maggots eat. My catastrophe's a masterpiece. Spit a verse, unleash a massive feast. Rabid predators rapidly smash the keys, extract the dreams on chain, crash the links, don't get it twisted. I ain't talking about golf. Only time we're swinging drivers when Chino's tossing your car. Me, catapult a border forward with the force from the shoulders. I am bull bar holders, turn the walls back to mortar. Forbid war, script a grim wall. Incantations, apprehend thoughts, edge your pulse. My pen game operate properly. Bodied these wannabe hot MCs, honestly wanting a shot at me's odd it seems. Oddities audibly, mockingly rocking beats. That's hard to me, hard to please. Odds is better, reaching the lottery. Thermometers, mercury bursting, overloading the allotted heat. Here they come a swarm and make my face out of beats. I am swarming, buzzing round your corpses as the end approaches. A feast for flies, a feast for flies, a feast for flies. I am swarming, buzzing round your corpses as the end approaches. You a feast for flies, a feast for flies, a feast for flies. The bad news, you rap rude. Rap dudes getting fucked up on tracks like Matt Hughes. With these pitches and pedipalps, stingers and venom drives, distributing deadly associates acidically disintegrate cinderblast. You talk to my syndicates, all simmering skeletons of a sauce, sympathy seeking, slowing the cooling of separatists. Provides get out sicking, spitting, serpent of competition, serving them sunny side up. Infesting organisms, sensitive to resistance, script slicing the sizes of saturated steel ripping, still spitting, stripping our souls. You can see me sipping some faces, swinging samurai swords. I sanitize slab the studio, acoustical phones. You should sacrifice science or the bluff in your bones, son. I separate your head with your neck meat. Corners call me XL2, the way I spread sheets. I am swarming, buzzing round your corpses as the end approaches. A feast for flies, a feast for flies, a feast for flies. I am swarming, buzzing round your corpses as the end approaches. You a feast for flies, a feast for flies, a feast for flies.
Chino the wordplay deviant, keep niggas in literal stitches. I am no comedian. Yeah, some rapper claim they gonna bury me, but he got no guts like taxidermy. For real, slice you with a razor, the face carver, the vendetta that is wearing a jacket that is made of chupacabra or leather. You stop me never, leave your dead body blinking forever, like a horror movie continuity error. Exclusively sever the lunatic terror, the lunacy usually helping recruiting me. Who Chino and Derek, this is mutiny weather. Thou shall not offend me. I put a dot on your forehead and it is not a bendy. I deliver written scribe scrolls similar to Siamese twins, same body but with minds of their own. You talked a lot of shit, online thug. In person greeted me with a still cone and a hug. Trying to do what Chino does is harder than putting an IV inside of your veins and driving over speed bumps. You can open it when I spit it. Grand opening like being the first woman at a grand opening at a gynecologist clinic. The king of one-liners. I got rhymes for every step of the 13,000 miles in the Great Wall of China. Get 'em. I'm anger-filled, AWOL, I hate y'all. Chino was living proof that love does not conquer all. Cut the strings off a child's kite. Then laugh at his tears as it takes flight. Fuck up your show, murder your hype man. Don't even ask why I got duct tape and I drive a white van.
I hear swarming, buzzing round your corpses as the end approaches. A feast for flies, a feast for flies, a feast for flies. I hear swarming, buzzing round your corpses as the end approaches. A feast for flies, a feast for flies, a feast for flies. I hear him swarming, buzzing round your corpses as the end approaches. A feast for flies, a feast for flies, a feast for flies. I hear him swarming, buzzing round your corpses as the end approaches. A feast for flies, a feast for flies, a feast for flies.